Hey everyone, so this is our new assignment. We're going to be doing a Photoshop multiplicity image. This will be due Thursday, so a week from, well, I'm recording this on Thursday, but you're seeing it on Friday, so a week from yesterday. And it's pretty simple. It's going to be basically a slightly more complicated version of the cut and paste assignment, but with a little bit more thought and process put into it. So we're going to be creating a convincing photographic image with at least 6 different versions of yourself in various places within the frame performing various tasks or activities. The actions of the characters will be determined by the narrative of the image and the environment as well as their costuming. Consider heavily your viewer and the likelihood of their interests in your choice of environment and imagery. I know we're all kind of limited at the moment at where we can go and what we can do, so I'm going to be, of course, a lot more lenient about that. Be inventive if you can, find somewhere cool, tell a visual story, etc., etc. Use the tools you've learned to make the image as convincing as possible. Try to make the composition as interesting as possible as well. Don't forget that each character interacts with the world around them and with each other, which means that there are always things like shadows and reflections present, and they must be manipulated with the character for the illusion to be convincing. I'll talk about that in a minute. Take all of your source images from the exact same vantage point. This is super, super crucial. Use a tripod or something to keep your camera perfectly still for each photo. This is, like I said, this is crucial and will save you tons of time once you get into actually making the project. Also, make sure your camera is set to the highest possible quality. I would recommend either using a tripod or setting up your camera on something. You can get someone else to take the photos for you, but they're going to move the camera as they take your photo. And the more they move the camera, the harder this project is going to be for you. So I would strongly suggest trying to figure out how to put your camera, your phone, whatever, in a very set, specific, stable place when you take these photos. That way, once you get into actual photoshopping, it will be much easier for you. All right, rules, at least 6 copies of yourself, any size canvas, at least 8 by 10 inches. So when we create a new document, we'll set it to at least 8 by 10. You can do larger if you'd like. 250 pixels per inch or dots per inch resolution, RGB mode, and then 2 saved copies, the PSD with layers. This is, of course, your project file. The JPEG is the one that you are going to send me. So everything, all of our assignments we do in Photoshop, I'm going to ask you to email me a JPEG because they're much smaller, condensed versions. And then the tools we're focusing on, almost all of this we already know. We're going to learn a little bit more today about dodge and burn and some stuff in the image adjustments panel. These are just a couple of tools to help with convincing transitions and things like that if we need them. All right, so let's look at some examples. You'll notice in, these are some of the more effective ones that I had. Things like overlap of characters, right? So this is something where she pasted this character in, pasted this character in, obviously put this character on a layer underneath this character here, and then erased around this overlap area so it would look like this character was in fact behind the part that is overlapping. Same thing here. And then also keep in mind things like I was saying earlier, shadows and reflections. So if she pastes in this character, she has to remember that there's reflection here of the elbow, there's reflection here of the mouse with the hand. Anywhere where there are shadows and reflections are always things you're going to have to take into account. So here, obviously, there's reflections of all these guys, and he did a really good job to bring all those in. So maybe it shows up in the video, but this is the kind of stuff, if you can see right here, this sort of halo around this character, this is the kind of stuff that you want to be real careful of to try and color match completely with the background elements. And see that line right there, a little bit of a mistake. So essentially what you're going to be doing is working from, you're going to take at least 6 photos of yourself in whatever space you have. You're going to work from one original photo, and then you're going to bring the other 5 characters into that photo. I'll show you more about that in a few minutes. Try and make sure you get rid of things little like halos like this from the pre-existing photos. I also want to make sure that you get the shadows underneath, so just kind of missing those there a little bit. Same thing here, you can see this hard edge right here, missing out a little bit of a cut and paste problem. Alright, so next video we're going to get into Photoshop. We're going to learn those new tools, and I'm going to show you a little bit about an example.